Welcome to Mirror Domains Movie News, your place for entertainment headlines. And indeed, this is a live news show for movie fans. It's live. Yes, YouTube, did you get that? It's live. Talking about movie talk. Movies. Talking movies. Movie fans. Talking about the big story of the day, Melissa Barrerra fired from Scream 7. I didn't think it would be possible because, well, they don't have a script yet. They have a director, but not a script, so it's kind of like, well, how could you get fired from it? But it happened, so we're going to talk about that on top of some other people getting put through the ringer, like Susan Sarandon, Tom Cruise. Hey, it happens. We got some updates for sequels. Planet of the Apes 4, Tron 3, Tron Ares, new Karate Kid, sequel galore. I think, aren't people done with sequels? But we got a prequel, Hunger Games. I saw that yesterday, so we'll be doing our full review for that. Let's start off today's show by talking about the Dave Feloni news that broke yesterday. I want to weigh in. Dave Feloni, named Chief Creative Officer at Lucasfilm, will help oversee development of future Star Wars projects. Well, as a Star Wars fan, I gotta say, I think this is a step in the right direction. I like this. Much better than Kathleen Kennedy hiring the go-to hot directors right now and saying, okay, you write your movies. No. Under Feloni, I think that he'll have a writer's room of like stories that could be made, and he'll know from Lucas himself where the boundaries are for like a Bible of what Star Wars and what the Force should mean. You shouldn't have a writer coming in, a writer-director coming in and say, I feel like having lightsabers change color depending on the mood of the person using it. That's not how lightsabers work. It's like, no. And Filoni will be someone who will be like, no, you can't do that. That's not how it works. Oh, I want to have Luke force project himself halfway across the galaxy. No, that's not how it works. It's like, yeah. But James, it was in the old script. Don't you remember when the Journey of Will said that force projection could be possibly a thing? I was like, get out of here with that nonsense. No, I think Filoni he's been mentored, schooled by George Lucas. So I think he will be able to marshal this in and give people what they want to see from Star Wars. Not telling people what they want to see, giving people what they want to see. And that's something that's lost on a lot of some other pundits out there that would be kind of like, no, the writer and director should come in and make the project that they want to make. But they're making a franchise thing. And that's something that I don't see a lot of people separating. It's kind of like Star Wars is already a known entity. And within that, there's some rules. And Filoni has studied those rules from George Lucas himself, so it's kind of like I trust him. So, yeah, there's still a few projects that were made under the old regime, but it just begs into question now. We're going to talk about this coming up. Daisy Ridley talks about her Star Wars movie. Is that still going to happen? Because he has control now. From Charmin Obaid Chinoy, right? The one who did the 2 episodes of Miss Marvel that I really liked, doing the Rey spin-off movie. It's not really a spin-off movie. She's recreating the new Jedi Order. It's not. It's more like episode 10. So we'll see if he can marshal that back in and bring it into some kind of sanity. This is the way I'd like to say. Instead of just having a writer-director come in and make something that just doesn't pertain to anything else, and why are you doing it like that? So, yeah. Quote, he said, now I'm what's called Chief Creative Officer of Lucasfilm. In the past, in a lot of projects, I would be brought in to it. I would see after it and already developed and had it already developed in a good ways. So, in this new role, it's opened up to basically everything that's going on, Filoni added. We're planning the future of what we're doing now, and I'm involved in the inception phase. So he's going to be like basically coming in kind of like James Gunn is from the DC universe, and, taking control of it like that. And then hopefully things will start to fall into place. You can have Star Wars movies coming out every year, as long as it's created with some kind of direction, right? And I think Feloni will give us that direction. So that's good news. Really good news. Instead of things kind of like flying all over the place. Which is this, I don't know how, really, I don't know how Kathleen Kennedy still has her job. I really don't. But anyway, it's come, it's gone. Here it is. Feloni Star Wars. We're on the cusp of a new era of Star Wars, and that's good for us. I want to see more Andor. I want to see more, hopefully decent Mandalorian. All right, let's take some live comments here, since we are live. Some of this movie news sounds pretty interesting. Movies, James, yes. Melissa Barrerra unjustly fired, and Dave we trust. Arglass says, yeah, we'll get to the Melissa Barrera stuff. It's going to be hard. That story is going to be hard for me to negotiate, but I'll try to get through it. Chris Schober says, it's really boggling that Melissa would actually say that, get fired from Scream 7, and then James Who is going to lead the movie. Then Scream 7, I think it will be, well, I think what they're going to try to do is have Jenna Ortega, but we'll talk about that in just a little bit. I want to talk about the Hunger Games prequel. Which I went out and saw yesterday. I didn't do a straight out of the theater reaction because I figured I was late to the party, so because I was sick last week. So, Hunger Games director Francis Lawrence talks about the ending in Constantine 2. Yes, Hunger Games prequel was supposed to be like about President Snow becoming evil. Evil? Yes, but. Does he really become evil? I suppose. I'll tell you this. I like the movie, but I acknowledge that it's got a lot of flaws, man. A lot of flaws. It was my first Rachel Zegler full movie that I guess I watched, that I stomached. I guess I watched bits of West Side Story and I was like, no, I'm out. Anyway, yeah. I saw photos of Rachel Zegler. So there's a big article up on Hollywood Reporter about the director and Francis Lawrence, who directed Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Bad title. They should have just called it President Snow or Snow, something like that. Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Bad title. But anyway, I digress. He goes on to talk about the ending, and I'll talk about this in my review, that it felt like two movies in one. It did. And a lot of that had to do with the Hunger Games. Peter Dinklage, he was good in it, but he goes on at the end talking about Constantine 2 is going to be his next project and stuff like that. So as movie fans, hearing the director Francis Lawrence now focusing his attention on Constantine 2 with Keanu Reeves, that's good in my book. That's good in my book. All right, let's get into my formal review for Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. This will be cut out and put up on the channel later on. Whoops, that's not the one I want. Cut out that chat. Let's make sure everything's ready to rock and roll. We ready? We ready? I think we're ready. All right. Let's do it. The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is out. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Yes, it's out. And I got to tell you this. I liked this movie. I liked being back in this universe of Pan Am. I did. I felt like it was cool to be back there. Does this movie have its flaws? Most definitely. Acting is not one of them. Tom Blythe as the young President Snow did a great job. Rachel Zegler was also in this. She was actually pretty good too. Really good. But it does have its problems. Let's go over to the IMDb. I'll read you the synopsis. Coriolanus Snow mentors and develops feelings for the female District 12 tribute during the 10th Hunger Games, directed by Francis Lawrence. Yes. Rachel Zegler's Lucy Gray Baird, Tom Blythe. Viola Davis is in this. So is Peter Dinklage. And he really stands out. But for me, the real standout that really caught my eye in this was Hunter Schafer as the sister. And she's only in a few scenes, but she stuck out in my mind because recently there was that report that people wanted her to be the Zelda, the live action Zelda in the Zelda movie. And when I saw her in this movie, I was kind of like, I could see that. Who is she? I want to know more about Hunter Schafer. Okay, what's wrong with this movie? It felt like it was two movies in one movie. There's a big section of it that deals with the Hunger Games and Rachel Zegler's character going into the Hunger Games and stuff like that. And okay, is he going to fall in love with her? Is this supposed to be a romance story? And then about halfway through, it changes into a totally different movie. Well, actually, not even halfway through. 3/4 of the way through, it turns into this other movie where it's like nothing to do with the Hunger Games. And you're like, okay, he's not quite bad yet. He's not quite evil. I'm waiting for this thing that will turn him bad. And it's kind of like, it felt shoehorned in at the end. It did, which kind of sucks because Tom Blythe, I think, did a good job. You believe him, and you believe their chemistry here too. Yeah, you do believe that he cares for her. It was just the execution of that story. It felt like, it didn't feel like it was a normal 3-act structure, and I was looking for those kind of barriers of like, okay, if he is the main character, then things should be unfolding towards a climax here. Things should be ramping up to going into the 3rd act. But now, because this main event of the Hunger Games, which kind of like cuts through the middle of the film, happened, it felt like that would have been the logical conclusion to the story, but it's not. And you're just kind of left going on and on. And one of the things that has a detriment to this film is the runtime. This movie is 2 hours and 37 minutes. And when you feel like you've got 2 movies crammed in there, it's kind of like, it feels bloated, guys. It feels like it's doing too much. So I acknowledge that, yes, it felt like it was doing too much, but I forgave it because I liked being back in that universe. I did. There's just, the director caught that. So looking at the basic score for me, acting, directing, and story are out of a possible 2 points each. I'll give 1.5 for acting. Yeah, directing, I'll give a 1 for right now. The story was interesting at parts, with Viola Davis kind of being like the game master, and then Peter Dinklage kind of like being the schoolmaster to Tom Blythe's Coriolanus Snow, and it's kind of like mentoring him, but not really. It's kind of like he's in an adversarial role, and because of that, things felt a little bit muddled. So I can't give the story all that great, but it was just great being back in that universe. That's the way I would say. As a preliminary score, cinematography and score, like the soundtrack, are out of a possible 1 point each. It was serviceable. Now, I could maybe give cinematography a bit of a boost, and I think I will, because it was shot extremely well. I can't knock it for that. Francis Lawrence did succumb to the shaky cam thing at times in his earlier installments that he directed. But overall, there's some breathtaking wide angle shots of like meadows and stuff like that. Classrooms are shot well. Some horrifying imagery of like the hanging tree and stuff like that. But things are framed well, and that helped. It helped build out the world of Pan Am. Now, the Hunger Games itself part, which is exciting for a lot of people, I think, was also pretty cool. But there was that also part where it was kind of like, yeah, you're just standing on a green screen stage. Oh, that's green screen smoke. But all the stuff with practical nature and stuff all look beautiful. And you get these big, wide establishing shots of meadows and stuff like that to help sell the romance. And that worked for me. That worked for me. So I'll give cinematography a full point. Score, soundtrack, not so much. Maybe on a second viewing, but I don't know about that. I don't know. Let's go over to the tomato meter and see what people are saying about this movie. 64% by critics, 90% by the audience. So the audience liked it much more than the critics, and maybe they fall to the same thing that I did. I just liked the feel of it. I liked looking at it. Uh, the aesthetic of it. The story is kind of like I wanted to know more about Snow and his sister. I did. Because as I said, Hunter Schafer did a good job. Just in the few scenes that she had, it just kind of like made me go, oh, I want to know more about her and what's going on with, like, he's protective of her and stuff like that. He's also protective of Rachel Zegler's character. Dinklage was good. Oh yeah, he was also really good. Jason Schwartzman, he just pops when he comes on. He's kind of like the TV announcer, like the earlier proto version of what Stanley Tucci's role was. And he just pops. And I like, it's no secret that I like Jason Schwartzman as an actor. He was one of the highlights of Asteroid City this year, if you haven't seen that. Viola Davis, I've heard people say that her performance was over the top, a little hammy. I don't think so. Oh, there's Hunter. Yeah. Great. Great screen presence. And based on that, I'd say it's worth checking out. Now, if there's people out there saying that, oh, it's woke, I don't know if I want to see it, James, because it's got Rachel Zegler in it. I heard all these things that she said about Snow White. There's none of that in this movie. Okay? There's no social commentary in here about saying you should look down on certain people a certain way, or you should grow to evolve a certain. There's nothing like that. This is just about these two characters basically, and his basic. Well, they're laying the groundwork for his big evil turn. Now, does he do evil things in this? At the end, he does. It's kind of like the accent. Oh, here it is. So it's kind of like, okay, he's there, and I know there's not a second book, but I would be open up to seeing more of this. I would. Of course, if you know the movie, it'll be mostly all about him because he goes back to the capital after the events of what happens in this movie. So there's some good drama in there. And the director recently said that the final parts of the film where they're in the forest together is his favorite part to film and for them to shoot. And yes, I agree with that because Tom Blythe gets a chance to stretch as an actor and show you what he can do. And that's where it's kind of like, oh, okay, I can see him becoming the evil guy that we know as Snow. I can see that now. And it's handled in such a way that's cool. It's just, it felt like a different part of the movie. It felt like a totally different movie, actually. So it's kind of like that, that mix is going to be off-putting for a lot of people. But I liked it. I like this movie. If it was on in the background, I would watch it again. But I wouldn't go out and own this on Blu-ray. So let's wrap up my my score for this and see what where the chips fall. Watchability factor. If you're a fan of the Hunger Games movies before, you'll definitely want to see it. It's got an interesting premise, and I think it's worth even seeing twice. Whoops, why is that? 1.5. There we go. So 6.5. Do I feel good about a 6.5 for the Hunger Games Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes? Could I stretch that into a 7, perhaps? Where would I give it to? Would I give it to the story, though? Huh. I'm conflicted. Maybe I'll give it to the acting. Yeah. Give it to the acting. Right there. Because as I said, Peter Dinklage is good. Tom Blythe is good. Rachel Zegler is surprisingly good in this. And it does kind of give me high hopes that perhaps they can turn around the muster of what that Snow White movie is going to be about. But yeah, I think it's worth the look. 7 out of 10 for The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I don't think it's going to be one of the better movies of the year. I don't think it'll end up on anybody's top 10 lists or anything like that. But it's a passable movie. It's a bit long though. Let's see what other people have said about it. I am curious about what other people are saying. Just to round us out here, from people who did like it, The Observer UK. Davis's deranged games designer, Dr. Volumnia Gall, and Jason Schwartzman's showboating comprare, Lucky Flickerman, justify the price of admission. So he's saying that there's some characters in there. Yes, I agree with Jason Schwartzman, Viola Davis. Who else in here? The Atlantic. Ballad may be bloated, and I said that, but it understands that the Hunger Games as a franchise didn't succeed because it had a clear political philosophy. It succeeded because it entertained. Yeah. Okay. Huffington Post didn't like it. It fails to validate its existence beyond the Hollywood routine of squeezing every dollar out of a successful franchise. It doesn't really add anything to the overall narrative. It's just more story and for no reason at all. No, I don't believe in that. Not for no reason. It introduced, and it's going to introduce a lot of people to Tom Blythe. So I'd go out and see it because of that, guys. And then if you just like being in that world, they do a great job of showing you that world again, and how dark, how dark in nature aspects of that world are. I like that because there's the whole premise of the Hunger Games is uh, chaotic and I think sadistic, and that gets addressed in this movie. She keeps on asking him, "What are the Hunger Games for?" And it's kind of like, okay, so it's getting ingrained into him. The future presidents know that we know, but box office wise, it didn't do so well at the box office. I don't know where it's going to land this coming next week because it's going to go up against Napoleon and Disney's Wish, which will just annihilate it. It made 44.6 domestically last weekend for a worldwide total of 106, and this has a budget of around 100 million actually. So yeah, we got some internationals numbers in there, so it's going to be okay actually. I think if that budget was around the $100 million mark, it should be fine. Because it's one of those movies where 100 million, 100 to 130 million, it's going to be fine then. And I hope they go on and make more. And now I hope they also go on and say, because Jennifer Lawrence said that she would be open to returning to this, go into the future again, right? All right, that's my thoughts. 7 out of 10 for the Hunger Games Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Did you guys go out and see it on the weekend? Let me know, and we will talk about it for sure. Hey, if you like this kind of thing, what other reviews are up on the channel? Well, the Marvels review is up. Priscilla is up on the channel. We just watched Survivor Episode 8 and Hell's Kitchen Episode 8. Great episodes. And of course, then, we do movie news throughout the week. So come join us. There are my other social media handles. If you'd like to talk movies, TV shows, all right here on Mirror Domains. All right. Do we need to get back to the topics right away? Do we want to talk about Melissa Barrerra getting fired, or do we want to take some live comments? Oops. Okay. Well, I think those comments are mostly about Ghostface. Yeah, so people want to get to the Melissa Barrera getting fired story. So we'll get to that. Oops. There's a shot in this where I was like, she's Zelda. That she so could play Zelda in the live action, but she's a little bit old if they're going to get a 15 to 20 something to play Link. I don't know. We'll have to see. All right. Susan Sarandon. Let's talk about that. UTA drops Susan Sarandon after comments at pro-Palestine rally in New York. Guys, we know that there is a big tragedy happening in the world right now over in the Gaza, Israel area. I'm not going to weigh in on what I think about it. I'm going to weigh in with what I think people should be reacting to. Yes, innocent people are dying. It's a tragic situation. I think that's the extent of what people should be weighing in on, because right now we don't have all the information for everything. And if you come out and saying you support this side or that side, uh, people are just going to twist it, and you're going to get under the microscope to the point where it'd be like, you're canceled, or we're dropping you. We don't want to be part of you, kind of thing. And you may have come into the situation with the most honest intentions of saying, I stand up for innocent people not being killed. And what other, regardless of whatever side you think you're on, it's kind of like the other side's going to use it against you. So it's kind of like, just say that you stand up for innocent people not being killed. That's what you should be overall ending. But some people feel like it's their duty to stand up and try to uh, shed light on the events that are happening over there. Uh, the problem is that most people don't have all the information. They get a little bit of a slice of it, and it's kind of like, well, now I know everything, so I got to stand up and help people. And it's kind of like, just, just, it sucks. It's a terrible, awful thing that's happening. But and I understand the compulsion for people to try to stand up and try to help those people. I do. But right now, it's hard to navigate the social media uh, world right now, because it's a land mine. It's been it's completely mined with these bombs that'll go off and could destroy your career by you not acknowledging certain things a certain way, by you not articulating things in a certain way. People will come after you and try to, they'll say, well, we don't want to be sponsored by you. We're going to drop our sponsorship of you. It's kind of like, just say you don't, yeah. So Susan Sarandon made some comments November 17th that have come back and said there are a lot of people. I'm not going to read her comments. You can find these articles up, and UTA has dropped her. So, what does UTA stand for, James? Why don't you look at that? United Talent Agency. United Talent Agency. But it really depends on your status if you're able to come back and save yourself, like Tom Cruise. But this is going to happen. This is going to happen for a while until whatever happens in that uh, Israel area gets resolved, and it's not going to be resolved for a long time, guys. Uh, this kind of stuff is going to happen, and you got to go your route. Susan Sarandon's got enough money; she doesn't need to be. She doesn't have to worry about being canceled or anything like that, so she can go off and do whatever she wants. But if you're a younger actress like Melissa Barrerra, perhaps this is not the right time to do that. Melissa Barrerra was fired from Scream 7. And I didn't believe this headline at first, because I was like, well, there's no script for it yet. I know there's a director, but how is it possible to get fired from something that's not even done, right? But apparently she's been dropped. So Melissa Barrera is dropped from Scream 7 after social media posts amid Israel-Hamas war. So what does this mean for the franchise? And that's what's going to come up here, guys. Uh, uh, this is a rabbit hole. You go online to see, okay, well, what did she say that was so terrible? And apparently, it just wasn't one thing. She went on a rant, a tirade of a whole slew of social media posts about this subject. And again, it's one of those things where I don't believe that she came from a place of ill intent, of malevolence. This is one of these things where you think that you're standing up for the right cause, but if you say the one wrong thing the wrong way, the other side is going to take it and twist it and make it look like you promote hatred. And I don't believe that that was her intent. But maybe again, maybe I'm speaking out of turn, because once I started to read that she had posted a lot more than just one thing, there's that rabbit hole that if you go down and you get your computer all muddled with that stuff, and that's all I'll ever get. So I don't want that. So she wrote in a post, it's currently being treated like a concentration camp, and then she goes on to talk about this. Uh, she uses big words in here that are not, um, YouTube doesn't even like us using these words. So it's hard for me to, I'm not going to pronounce those words for you guys. You can see it there on screen because it'll flag, it'll be like, this is being flagged for inappropriate content, I guess. Uh, so those are the kinds of things that she said. All right. And of course, the studio and everybody else, Spyglass, who's in charge of Stream 7 Spyglass Media Group, has said Spyglass's stance is unequivocally clear. We have zero tolerance for anti-Semitism or the incitement of hate in any form, including false references to those big words, and anything that flagrantly crosses the line into hate speech. So, again, it's your life. You have to live it the way that you're going to do it. And I am somebody, she's done her career now because of these statements. Nobody else is going to work with her. Scream was going to launch her into the stratosphere, and it's done. And it sucks because Melissa Barrera was, I thought, really enjoyable in those first two Scream movies. It made me want to go. I want to see more work from her because she's got something there, and it sucks. And the same thing happened to, I believe, Gina Carano. Now I know that Gina Carano was surrounded herself with a whole bunch of the right wing conspiracy people, but I don't believe that she should have been fired either. Wait a minute, did I just say that I don't believe that she should have been fired from this? Guys, there's a thing about free speech here I want to address too. People say, well, aren't you free to say this? Well, she did say it. She was free to say it, guys, but you're not free from consequence, right? And this is the road. This is that landmine field that I'm talking about in the social atmosphere here, that you don't know exactly what you're going to say that could blow up, that will be kind of the thing that will be the catalyst that'll undo you. You don't know what it is, right? With good intentions, I like with right now, I'm saying with good intentions. I don't want innocent people to be killed. But that could even, the vagueness of that could be misconstrued by either side against me to say, oh, I'll mirror domains. He doesn't want innocent people to be killed. Let's cancel. See, it's kind of hard to make that stretch. But once I come out and declare that I'm for this side or that side, then it gets real muddy waters, right? So she's done, and it sucks because she did have talent, and I think Gina Carano also has talent. That sucks that she got muted. If I were directing movies and making movies, I would hire both of them like that. But I'm not in that position, so there we are. A fired Scream star, clients booted because I'm able to look at it from the other way. They didn't do anything criminal, right? They didn't do anything like a Bryan Singer or a Kevin Spacey or somebody who mistreated somebody on set. They didn't do anything like that. They didn't do anything like a Harvey Weinstein. Okay, they're not anything like that. And James, again, there's that minefield that I'm trying to dance and negotiate. I'm trying to put a separation here, but I understand that it's just speech. I understand that most people don't. And if I did hire them, I'd be kind of like, okay, for the love of God, for the next few months while we're working on this, can you just please refrain? I don't care what you do after. I don't care what you're doing before. But when we're working on this project, please don't do this. Please, for the love of God. And if they still say, no, you can't tell me what to do and stuff like that, I'm just asking you. I'm not telling you to. Please don't. And I'm doing it because I'm trying to look out for them. But anyway, I don't have as much sway as some people. I don't have as much sway as, say, a Tom Cruise, who stepped up and stopped somebody from getting fired. So Clients booted from agencies and a secret Tom Cruise meeting inside Hollywood's divide over Israel. So I guess one of Tom Cruise's agents had spoken up about the the situation over there in the Israel area, and she was going to get let go, but Tom Cruise stepped up and said, "No, she's still going to represent me." So he's got that clout, he's got that power, right? Tom Cruise reportedly stepped in to stop his agent from being fired over controversial social media posts. Uh, it's something. It's a time now where it has to run its course. Uh, and I understand that in the past, politically, things would get changed by peaceful demonstrations, peaceful protests. But coming out and supporting those protests right now, while you are in an industry that's uh, got a political, no, not a political, that's got a press face to it, that's got, you have to have like a PR handle on things. Uh, Now is not the time to throw your hat into that arena, right? Now is the time to just say, okay, this is a terrible thing that's going on. I really wish that I could use my platform to help people. I'm not going to for the sanctity of my career. That's the way I would look at it. Uh, and I would just issue statements of like, it's horrible that innocent people are dying. It's terrible. It's one of the most grotesque things that happens to humans that we do to ourselves, right? That's all I would say. And then I would just move on. And then privately in my own life, I would be venting this. I would be going to my uh, counselor or psychiatrist, and this is where you address those issues. This is where you come out and talk about those things, guys. Not on social media, right? And then again, depending where you are in your career, if you don't have the clout of a Tom Cruise to come back and save you, then maybe you are like a Susan Sarandon, where you're like, yeah, I've got enough money. I don't have to worry about money anymore. I don't need upcoming projects. So I'm gonna use my platform to say what I want to, and I got no problem with that. Right? But for timings of other things, it's gonna be like, I wish you didn't do it, girl. I wish you didn't do it, but you did. So what does that mean for Scream 7? Um, Scream 7 is being directed by the guy who did Happy Death Day. So Uh, they got the director, and I guess he's working on a script. Where do we go from here? Do we go to try to get in Sidney Prescott again? No, I don't think that they have enough clout. They'd have to pony up the dough to bring back Nev Campbell because they undercut her for Scream 6 and they disrespected her in that way. I don't think she has any interest, no matter how much money, unless it's a ridiculous amount, to come back. So, what are your thoughts on Sidney Prescott coming back? Chris says in the live chat. I don't think she is. And Stu's character arc. I would have loved Stu to come back, especially after watching uh, uh, Five Nights at Freddy's. Matthew Lillard could still do it. He still can. So, I would have loved to have seen that. Uh, in that sense, at the end, when Ghostface takes his hand and slashes his knife at the post-credit scene, James. Uh, I don't know. I went and saw the Thanksgiving movie. It was a pretty interesting horror movie. I want to see Thanksgiving. I'm going to see Thanksgiving this week. Did you just spoil the movie for a lot of people, Chris? I think you did. Don't spoil movies in my chat, man. Sorry. I'm not happy with that, actually. I'm really not happy with that. I feel Melissa should have a right to reply in a fair hearing. They'll be a united front with her and the cast of Scream. Um, says Hourglass. I I don't think that's gonna do anything. I don't think like if unless Jenna Ortega says she's walking. If Jenna Ortega says I'm not working on this unless Melissa's there, and I don't know if see I don't know what the contracts are. If Jenna Ortega's signed the contract for 7, then she'll have to come back. All of them will have to come back without Melissa. And where do you go? Do you? I think you just recast. But I still think that there should have been room uh for putting somebody in a timeout like I just did with Chris. Uh, you should just be able to like time them out and see like she didn't do anything like an Ezra Miller kind of situation, right? Anything political nowadays is a tinderbox. Please keep well clear and support offline. Yeah, yeah, and Scream 7 because of Jenna Ortega's uh schedule. It wasn't going to shoot until late next year anyway, because she just wrapped up Beetlejuice 2, and she's going to be doing Wednesday season 2 early next year. So she would have to do it after Wednesday season 2, which would be to the fall. So we wouldn't get Scream 7 until probably October 2025. Because they couldn't shoot it at the end of next year and have it out early next in 2025. They couldn't do that. So they would have had time, and this could have blown all over. Uh, to come out and say that, like, as a company, I understand that you think that you're doing the noble thing of cutting ties with people who you think are promoting uh, hate speech. Uh, Again, this is something that's kind of like I think cooler heads would have prevailed. I think, and I think the waters would have calmed down. But uh, I didn't. She did post extensively, guys. She posted a lot of stuff. It just wasn't one thing. So it's a shame. I didn't believe it last night, but it's happened. So we'll have to see how this all unfolds. My friend in the live chat says, hey, how's it going? All right, let's get on. I was going to talk about this. Could Thanksgiving become the new Scream? Now I'm spoiled. Now the movie's spoiled for me. Now the movie's spoiled. I'm really upset that that happened because I didn't know. I didn't know. So I apologize to anybody out there in the live chat who saw those comments by Chris Schober, and I'm sorry. I should have been catching that sooner. Uh, yeah. Damn. 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 Damn it. All right. Ah. Yeah. Bifer says, as a society, stay away from religion and politics. Yeah. Well, at least in the social arena, right? Social media arena. All right. Yesterday, it was going around about the new Lex Luthor casting, uh, Nicholas Holt, which isn't confirmed. He's just still in talks, but it looks like he's going to be our Lex Luthor. So it's like he's just got to sign the paper, basically. Yeah. Superman Legacy casts is Jimmy Olsen and Eve Testmacher, Skylar Gizondo, and Sarah Sampio. I never even heard of her. What has she been in? Miss Testmacher. She's basically the secretary to Lex Luthor, which is fine. Uh, what else has she been in? Karga, Shadow. Nothing else in here that I see. Oh well. And then Jimmy Olsen is Skylar Gizondo. Okay. Not major characters, but interesting. The more important would be Nicholas Holt as Lex Luthor, uh, which I think is no surprise. He had already had auditioned to be Superman and Batman. Uh, Great actor. He's the right guy. He's the kind of Lex Luthor that you could see in the mech suit, right? In his armor. He's that kind of a Lex Luthor. So I want to see that to come into fruition in his isn't it his suit, isn't it infused with kryptonite of some kind, right? So I want to see that version. He can handle it for sure. It's good news, even though he's not going to be the main villain in the Superman Legacy. There's going to be a girl that her body's like just nanites, right? But Nicholas Holt, good actor. He's got lots of range. Yeah, most people are on board with him being Lex Luthor. That's good. And our Tessmacher and our Jimmy Olsen, fine, fine. Planet of the Apes 4, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, draws inspiration from Star Wars and Apocalypto. Apocalypto is a good, a good. Well, I just saw that again recently, and it's easily Mel Gibson's best work. Apocalypto, directing wise. From Star Wars, I don't know if I saw that. I guess Apes on Horses, a little bit, maybe. I don't know. When it first started out, the director said, "It. I feel like apes need a little bit of Star Wars." He says it's still very grounded in reality, but it's essentially a quest narrative. Our main character, the young, impressible Noah. Okay, Noah. Each character is along the way and becomes awakened as he winds up in a place that will test him, and he ultimately becomes his true self. Okay, so he's talking about the arc of the main character being a little bit like Luke Skywalker. Okay, but Apocalypto had a very grim reveal as to what was happening to them, right? What was where they were being taken off to and stuff. Because God, that was brutal. And when I saw it recently, it was like again the costuming in that was fantastic. But it looks like the costuming in this too, even though it's CG, looks good. I'm actually looking forward to Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, May 24th, 2024. Uh, so I guess this Noah character is that Noah? Yeah, I guess he's he's a descendant of Caesar, right? I thought that's the way they were going. Let me pull up the IMDb. Many years after the reign of Caesar, a young ape goes on a journey that will lead him into question everything that he's been taught about the past and makes choices that will define the future for apes and humans alike. Okay, so Noah. Noah's the main character. Owen Teague. Yeah, the trailers look good too. Trailers look sharp. They had this on the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and it looked on the on the on the big screen. It looked impressive. So a little bit of Star Wars mixed in with Apocalypto. I could see that with like a evil, like a rival faction of apes that like torture them and stuff. I can see that. Huh. It'll add a little bit of a grit to it, I think. Next, Tron Ares. Tron Ares boots up a post-holiday production restart. Production on Disney's Tron Ares. So we're going to go back to the world of Tron, huh? With Jared Leto, right? All right. I didn't hate Tron Legacy. I just never found myself going back to revisit it. I was kind of like, I like the soundtrack. I like the aesthetic of it. I just didn't find the story all that compelling. I liked Olivia Wilde in it. But today was supposed to be our first day of principal photography on Tron Ares. Roning said, is that the director? Instead, we are shutting down over hundreds. Uh, so, yeah, there's the director. Joachim Roning. Now it looks like they're going to start shooting it next year. Good for them. All right, guys. Some people are just, can't you just leave me alone? All right. We watched Aquaman 2 Lost Kingdom official trailer 2. There was one on Valor Songbirds and Snakes. I don't know if that was the second one. The Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes trailer was a good reprise of the eagle landing on Cornelius's arm. About to see. New Karate Kid. I don't know about this one either, guys. New Karate Kid movie to unite Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio. I said this before. It's more kung fu. Like karate's Japanese, guys. Jackie's Chinese. Anyway, they're going to go back down to that well. If you're a Cobra Kai fan, apparently they're just going to overlook the events of Cobra Kai and just have Ralph Macchio's character in there. I don't know why they would do that. Why they would just include the Cobra Kai narratives into what's going to happen in this story. But both Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan came together to make this video of kind of like, we're looking for who the next Karate Kid is. So if you're young and you want to send in your audition tapes, I think it's going to be a girl, which is fine. I don't care. I'm just kind of like, we're going back to this well because why? I don't know. Mr. Han, Jackie Chan, whatever. Hey, if you want to be the next Karate Kid, send in your information, guys. uh, I don't even think like does that well have any more fertile stuff to be. See what people are saying in the comments to that video. Having a non-celebrity as the main cast would be awesome. A new promised shining superstar. Having these two together absolutely fills my heart with joy. They're actually really awesome. Making a reboot actually apart from the same universe is something I was not expecting. Making the reboot actually apart from the same universe is... What the heck is that person talking about? What kind of comment? Maybe the new Karate Kid will learn a mix of karate and kung fu. Well, that'd be... Yeah. I don't think so. Not expected that one. Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio in the same Karate Kid movie. My life is officially complete. Wow, doesn't take much to satisfy your life requirements. Uh, okay, um, your life is complete. Is your life complete? Knowing that there's going to be a new Karate Kid with Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan. Is he looking a little thin up top, or is that a little some gray that he's allowing to show through now? I don't know. Whatever. Christopher says, I would love to be the next Karate Kid actor in the movie franchise. Yes. Well, maybe you should submit a demo tape then, Chris. All right, let's go in and talk about some hit or miss. Was going to be one of the main topics, but then once I started to see some of the substance of it, I was kind of like, it's not really that much. And I know people out there will try to make some videos with it, but I don't know. Daisy really talks the Marsh King's daughter that has come and gone and done absolutely nothing at the box office. Uh, it didn't even crack the top 20, I don't think. Yeah. What it came up to 18 and now it's down to 31. It's only in 41 theaters though, James. 1.7 million domestically, 2.3 worldwide. It's kind of like done its run. Marsh King's Daughter, and it kind of sucks because it has Ben Mendelsohn in it. 3 weeks, and it's just not getting any traction. Uh, this article goes on to talk about her upcoming projects and stuff like that. She's a good actress. It's just, again, now that going back to the Feloni story, this would fall under his realm. So it's kind of like, just call it episode 10 for God's sakes. And when you go and read this article, it's not until the very end where she talks about it. She's just kind of like, oh, I'm excited to be back in Star Wars again. That's basically all the extent of it. I got to go and have a breakfast with Kathy Kennedy, and I thought it was just breakfast. And then it was mentioned, I thought about it. I love the story, and I was like, okay. Things then happened quite quickly, and I felt like I was instantaneously on a stage being introduced by Charmin Obaid-Chinoy, and she was just excited by it. That's it. That's all the quote was. I was petrified. I was overwhelmed. I was nervous. I haven't read anything, but I know the story. It's really worth telling, worth exploring, and I think people will be excited because that's exactly what episode 7 should have been. Somebody recreating the Jedi Council, like Luke. So it's going to be Rey recreating the Jedi Council or a group of Jedis. Anyway, and how is that not episode 10? And yes, one of them will try to turn to the dark side and she'll try to stop them, and that's the story. That's as simple as Star Wars needs to be. But hopefully it won't be shoehorned with any more social narratives. Uh, Marsh King's Daughter, we addressed. Star Wars, we addressed. Her upcoming projects, she's just not getting the traction. So you have to go back to that well. And it's going to suck if it comes down to her career only being Star Wars, because that's what happens to some people unless you're able to somehow break free. And she's doing small projects like the Marsh King's Daughter. It's just not getting traction. Nobody's talking about it, right? Yeah, she was in Murder on the Orient Express, but that was like a minor role, right? Uh, I don't know. Sometimes I think about dying as this other project that right here, where it did get some festival buzz, but it really hasn't since, right? Next, Face Off director John Woo reveals why his pre Hollywood action films don't have 4K releases. Yeah, John Woo. He's out promoting for his new movie Silent Night or whatever, right? uh, an action movie with Joel Kinnaman, where he wants revenge on people who took his voice box away. Uh, when I first read this story, I thought it was going to be because of technical issues. Because once you take up some of those older action films where wire work was predominantly used at a 4K level, you're going to be able to see those unless you have the money to take the wire work out, like blur it out and stuff, right? Copy over it. I thought it would be like some kind of technical issue, but it's mostly rights issues. Those old films, the companies that used to own them got absorbed by another company, and then the company that absorbed it got bought out by a bigger company. So the rights issues are just kind of like all over the place. So that's why we don't have like a 4K render of like The Killer, which was a good movie, by the way. Chow Yun Fat. There was another one, Hard Boiled, right? Yeah, Hard Boiled. That one was also really good. And yes, they were shot on film, which is easier to upgrade to 4K than movies that are shot digitally. Because if you got the film print, the film should have all of the detail. The thing with digital, you, if the digital camera, like say you shot it in 1080, then that's all that you will have. You can't upgrade the 1080 to 4K without having AI fill it in for you. At least with the old stock footage of like the actual film, like the 70 millimeter and stuff, the resolution will be there. It's there. It's caught on the film. When it's in digital format, it's not there, right? If you guys kind of understand that, do you understand the difference there? But anyway, that's not the issue. It's all rights issues for John Woo's older films. Next, OpenAI bringing back Sam Altman as CEO. Yeah, days after firing. Yeah, the AI guy the OpenAI is like the parent company to Chat GPT or something. I don't know all the nuance onto this. I just kind of like whatever. Uh, they ousted him, and then now the I guess the remaining people at the company were threatening to walk to leave, and they're like, okay, now sorry, we're bringing you back. We made a mistake, kind of like what happened to James Gunn over on the Guardians of the Galaxy side, kind of thing, right? So, ah, I just pulled that one in case we were running out of time, but we're running over time anyway today. All right, next, let's go over to the Twitterverse. Ryan Cox says his favorite line in Succession was, "I love you, but you are not serious people." Okay. Happy birthday to Archie Renaud. Who the heck is Archie Renaud? Do we know him? Don't know him. Well, happy birthday anyway, Archie. New trailer for Poor Things has been released. Good. December 8th. This is one of my final must sees of the year. Most anticipated. Mostly because of Emma Stone playing like a Frankenstein monster. Yeah, can't wait for it. Spyglass, the production company behind Scream, released a statement. Yeah, we know that about Melissa Barrera. Logan Lerman, Anna Corrigan are engaged. Okay, congratulations. Rowan Blanchard via Instagram stories. Every person in Hollywood I know that has been vocal online about cleansing now has faced consequences. Yeah. At the end of the day, I'd rather be excluded for who I include than included for who I exclude. Again, she's got talent, guys. Um, got to separate it from the artist. And it's not as if she's done anything like Ezra Miller. So I fail to see the comparison. She just used her words. Uh, Rebel Moon is your most anticipated of the, yeah, mine too. That's up there. Rebel Moon is, and we're going to watch that in December for sure. You know, if I were producers of the show, Scream, here's what I would do. Scream 7, here's what I would do. Write the script, shoot it for 2026. By then, I don't know. I don't know. Could you still use her? No, I don't know. Yeah, I think they'll recast maybe because her character is pivotal. She's tied to Billy Loomis, so it's kind of like I don't see how you go forward without her character, not Melissa Barrera, without her character. Or maybe it's just the final nail in the coffin. Put it to bed. It was fun having an extra couple of Scream movies tacked on there, Scream 5 and Scream 6. It was fun. Put it away and set it down. Matt Bomer reveals the audition as to be Ken. Well, turned it down to spend time with his family. Okay. He played a bunch of different Kens. Halle Bailey for the couple color purple. That red. That has to be extensions, doesn't it? For her hair. I really liked her as a Ariel. I did. Talent agency UTA has reportedly dropped Susan Sarandon. Well, yeah, we talked about that. Muppets Mayhem has been canceled at Disney Plus after one season. Ooh, ooh. Miss Tessmacher has been cast. Yeah. Hunger Game Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes has officially debuted at #1 in box office with 101 million. Well, we talked about that too. All right, guys. Jennifer Coolidge. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, I saw this story the other day too. The Bike Riders is being shopped at different studios after Disney took it off its release calendar. So somebody else is going to have to pick that up and put it out. I don't know why. Maybe the story dealt with something sensitive in our current cultural zeitgeist, but it's about bike riders and one of them being corrupt and then him being sucked into it, right? I wanted to see it because it's Tom Hardy, Austin Butler. It was one of my most anticipated of the year too. It's kind of weird. Something about that doesn't sit right. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the ending. Maybe he doesn't, like you would think that it would be a story where he becomes a good guy at the end, and maybe it's not. And that just doesn't sit well with Disney. It's he becomes a bad guy at the end too. Who knows? Who knows? All right, guys, that's it for me today. That's all I got in the can. Uh, if I still don't have the full faculty of my sinuses back, so every now and then I'm like, I'm at that stage. I'm at the tail end of it where I'm just like gotta clear my sinuses out every now and then. So it's not comfortable to do gaming or anything like that, but it is what it is. Uh, we'll be back tomorrow morning for Survivor, though. Episode 9 of Survivor. The Bike Riders isn't wholesome enough for Disney, Artglass says. Yeah, maybe not. It sucks because I wanted to see that movie. I did. I like the trailers for it. It's a bummer. It's a real bummer. All right. Hit that thumbs up button, guys. Join us tomorrow for some Survivor. Yeah, looking forward to that. And then I don't know if I'm going out to see no. I will go out and see a movie tomorrow. I just don't know if it'll be Napoleon or Thanksgiving. Probably Napoleon. uh, I think there's a 3 o'clock show that'll be done by like 6:30. For God's sakes. Yeah, what's with these long movies, guys? Gotta stop these long movies, for God's sakes. Anyway, yeah. See you tomorrow for more movie stuff here on Mirror Domains. Enjoy the rest of your day.